I'm curious to also hear more about this land and how you have been connecting with the local tribal communities here. Because how long you've been here now?
So I've been here like say 9 years. I came as a contractor for government to do construction in the areas with we were into prefabricated buildings, so making Anganwadis, community centers like that. At that time, I got a very good chance to meet with lot of these tribal elders because I will be visiting hamlets, talking with them to get that positions done. Then it get fascinated the way they live, how simple their lives are. Less stories. So we all live in stories, but their stories are very connected to the land, even the food, what they, how they are growing it, how they are collecting it, their connection with nature, how they actually treat nature. For us, nature is a different thing. For them, it's not two different things. Me and nature.
Yeah. That
They
every
are
day
every day.
it's
They are
it's
living
weaved
there.
into everything that they
The,
exist.
the other concept hit me is that so basically I born and brought up in like say suburbs of cities. So private lands, private house, mine, this thing. But when the whole community is living as as a community basically. We are talking about how to create communities, but they are living it. They are actually evolving it. Maybe we articulate it, but they live it.
Mm.
So I got fascinated how their, maybe their connections with each other. So it makes sense sometimes, how simple to live. We were coming in a very complicated places, how to make money. We don't know why we are making money. Yeah, sometimes to survive. After a survival, why to make money more? Again, making it bigger, bigger, bigger. And we are in the process never ends of creating, generating, accumulating wealth or material wealth. But for them, they're not accumulating anything, but they are living very peaceful. Every day is very peaceful. So the one day we were walking inside the forest. I saw like a honey beehive basically. So I thought, okay, one the guy with me from the community, he told me like that that honey it's really good. Why can't we take it? Oh, he looked at, oh, somebody has marked. So they know for each person they have a mark to put on the tree. Then who first sighted, then nobody else will take it.
They will
Uh,
respect that from you.
Respect that. But it is not possible in any mainstream life. Even it's anywhere in the city, and you can't even imagine. But in the villages also, it's not in your property. It's in the forest. It's for everyone. But still, you're giving respect to each other's space and doing that. And other thing is that I need to get some signed off from that chieftain to do that work there. But he is wondering, you people are mad. I already told you to do that. If you don't believe my words, then you are going to believe my, one sign. So seriously, right? So that's a way because you're signing it and you're not bending and signing it, that means nothing. So I'm saying it, okay, why you don't trust me, but you trust my signature. You people are crazy. So I thought, why? Initially, I thought it's why these people are telling like that. But seriously, when you give a thought about it, that's right. We have to, you know, learn to trust each other first, rather than yeah, it may be a complex when it comes to bigger people and all that. When in a city you don't know each other, here everybody knows each other. Yeah, maybe different here sometimes.
But even here, right? Because we talked a little bit before, and you said that it also the building trust with people, or not. Maybe it's not only trust; it's also just getting to understand each other's ways of being and communicating takes time to understand how people relate to the land, how people hold this land. I don't know. Maybe you can just share a little bit about that. Your process of getting this trust.
See, when I started living here after a long time, it took a long time to understand what a lifestyle is. It's thinking beyond frames. You're not being framed and openly saying that. Because you're conditioned in a very different area, in the different your schooling, where you live, all the connections. The condition is very different, and you can't live with that. You can live, yeah, work, but you can't completely understand how it works. Slowly, if I understand with an open mind, we embrace it. I won't say it's like 100% everything is like, initially I was in that thought, in a romancing, okay, because that's just a life. I want to have a lot of people around you. You're living together, you're farming together, like that. But then I realized, yeah, but it's a best way to have a community around you that can build, that can, become more
Support.
stronger. Yeah. So slowly, I started visiting, learning their ways. It become this is we are all started talking about sustainability, regenerative economics, but these people are actually living it for a longer time. So basically, we will be also a tribe, our ancestors sometimes, right? We come from that way. So when we moved to this system, slowly evolved into the system what we are into, more materialistic, more consumer centric, more than production. So we work for something. I felt okay, nice. Then I started engaging more their rituals, their dance forms, maybe their uh, they celebrate death. It was a fascinating thing for me. Uh, how from my the place I or almost all people come from, there the death is always a sad scene. You will be crying and a lot of
Mm.
things. Here it's a celebration. Yeah, for half an hour you cry, then you started with dance, music, and it goes around for 2 days. Then I was very curious why they are celebrating death. Then okay, to live is a survival everything. So for them, death means it's an escape from that or freedom from the survival fight. And it also makes sense that these people around, their loved ones around them, with all the celebration, it's very easy for them to they understand life and death in a very black and white thing. No stories, lot of stories. They understand the black and white thing. Okay, that it's a process. They understand it. What we philosophically we are searching it and reading it and thinking about it. They are actually living it for a longer time.
We also talked before a lot about, of course, you just mentioned community and how actually the way that you've been building community quite, it's I think it's quite special because um, at the same time there's people here who grew up in a different kind of lifestyle
Hmm.
that is part of your community, but also very much so the local tribal communities and people of the local tribal communities are also part of this community.
Yeah.
And then there are guests, visitors
Hmm.
like us, who you also welcome
Yeah.
to kind of join the community in some form. How did you come to this kind of construction? How does that also, yeah.
It's an exchange, right? That the basic name itself, the common ground means,
Mm.
uh, you and we will have both of common interests. At the same time, we will be having some differences in different opinion. But if we work on our common interests, so which is better, a better living, a peaceful living, something creative, you produce more, you create more. And if that exchange happen, if we work on that, we can like do wonders. So set aside our differences and come work in the common ground. So it will be more. So we have Mariappan, we were sitting in his place. So he's 75-year-old. So his experience will be uh, like I can't imagine like what all kind of knowledge he have with this connections, interconnections of this land, because he knows each of what plant will can be used for which medicine, which can be cured, how we work with the conflicts with wildlife, elephant. They have their own methods. So normally the practices here is that you have a agriculture land here where you do farm. After, like in some distance you have another small area, what same replication of that what you do the farming there. They don't harvest it. It's for that animals, wild animals,
Mm.
for the elephants,
Yeah,
for the wild
the
boars.
wildlife needs food too.
So I think it's a great idea, right? Like great way of seeing life. So you are coexisting with wildlife, and all this information about which cycles, which trees, and about the food, which roots you can eat, and there are some roots that some creepers that store water inside it. So if you truck, you don't carry water in a water bottle or something. So if you're thirsty, okay, he will sport you that okay, cut it, you get water from that, naturally stored water. From that, at what time the rains, everything is knowledge. And Sanju is another young chap working from the same community. He's 22. Initially, he was not interested in all those things. He don't want to continue his uh, the way of life because he is fascinated more in the because of Instagram, social media, all those things. He wanted other thing. But when he started coming here, the exchange is actually happening. In the meantime, all other people around are also learning from it. And he is also maybe experiencing the new world. The world is coming to him now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
See how many from different countries people come here, interact with him. So he doesn't have to travel
Yeah.
to Portugal. He
He's
doesn't have to travel
receiving
to
it
Suriname. He
also.
don't have to travel to Germany. The same thing with common ground here. So it's a mix. Okay, so you get something you're experiencing materially or physically. At the same time, even how like even Siljas or me or Sohan, Sali got experience of the lifestyle of the authentic lifestyle of Suriname. What is their way of living, and and you are exchanging your part of even its performance. You're collaborating in that sense. You're adding to the community. At
Yeah.
the same time, you are also getting something. The exchange is happening.
Exactly. I think this is always so important to remind ourselves of that exchange, and the migration is as ancient as humanity. So, but the reality in which you often find ourselves makes the exchange so difficult. Then people go into very different directions, right? We talk about cultural appropriation, we talk
Yeah.
about exploitation, but when the way that you are approaching it is, I think, a very beautiful example of how things actually continue to
Yeah.
develop. Like, people here are not living in isolation. They're living in a very specific land. They hold a very specific relationship with this land. But none of us are actually living in complete isolation. We are
Yeah.
finding ways in this common
Connect. Yeah.
ground, for example, to connect with each other. And you have many different ways of doing that. Clearly, it's by culturally, emotionally connecting with the people here through the land as well. But one of the things you, of course, are also practicing is earth building.
Yeah.
And I was just having this little chat as well before with Siljas about the knowledge around earth building and how you are currently also interested. For example, yeah, we find ourselves now in the house of Mariapan, who is living in a tree hut and above us beautifully. But at the same time, you would love to build a house for him and maybe in a way with him, because in that way I understood you would also allow certain knowledges to be better sustained, knowledges that would otherwise get lost, because
Yeah.
even a lot of people increasingly here stop using earth building. They go into different ways of construction, and by building it for him, I think it was a beautiful example to have moments, like of interaction, of engagement. Like, he will probably start advising you. I can already imagine how it
Yeah.
how it would happen. Like, yeah, could you share about a bit more about this?
See, even the natural building or vernacular architecture, which is basically it evolved from a place. It evolved from a place. Even the design, the materials, the structure, everything comes from with it in consideration of climate, availability of material, and the kind of lifestyle. Most of the people doesn't know now. The 90% of the people from the tribal community also doesn't know here to make any more these kind of houses. But it's a good way to keep that in an authentic way. At the same time, sometimes you're experimenting on it.
Yeah,
So there
yeah,
are that's also the part of an exchange what we do. So we travel, we work with a lot of people, and advancement. So why can't we use that advancement in an existing thing without uh, you know disturbing that actual the craft or the method? Why can't we improvise and improve it in a way? So that I think that's a better way rather than being in the pure, the authentic form. If we can better it,
yeah.
right?
No, exactly. Again, it's the exchange.
Exchange, yeah.
Yeah.
So in some area there will be, it is also a documentation at the same time. We can document like the way how the walls are made. Even Maripan's elder sister is there, so she will be joining. So
Ah.
she knows about this polishing of this,
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
about the mud wall making, all those things. we can use our art element, artistic element, and sometimes a design element in a different way to make it something beautiful. It's like, let's say, collaboration of work. To basically, we are not building for Mariappan. We are making or building with Mariappan. So there's a small
Oh, yeah.
difference. Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
In
yeah,
some area, we will be learning the traditional way of or conventional method of how to treat bamboo. Normally, treating bamboo requires lot in a modern method, boric acid, borax. You have to dip it in a lot of chemical processes required. But they prefer in a different way. They calculate the moon cycles in the cycles of moon. So that maybe it's working. Uh, I don't know about the scientific details of it, but I've seen the practical version of it. I've seen houses that lasted 50 years. I lived in such a house in one of the hamlet, made with bamboo and mud. And they, yeah, occasionally they remove the rework on the thatch. But yeah, getting bamboo in that way, it's abundance, okay. Once bamboo grows in abundance, and if you know better way to use it without in chemicals, also it's a nice. So he can instill that kind of uh,
knowledge.
knowledge on time, and even with the mud. Sometimes we have to add more lime or maybe cement. So in the traditional houses here, I've seen like very old houses without any termite problem. So their mixture is very simple. They add a mud, some straw, cow dung, and some leaves. Which leaves I don't know, but we can find out when we are working with Mariappan in his house. And it's nice, to. He's also part of community. He's basically he is the one who gives the wisdom, getting the wisdom part of from here. Basically, common ground ethos are rooted in tribal wisdom.
Yeah.
How to uh, judiciously use resources, optimal use of resources, and how to use judiciously without hurting much of the nature. And yeah, definitely, if you want to live a life, it's a human or it's an animal, you have to bend your surroundings bit for your thing. But how minimal impact we can give for the nature. And I think that's the best way to learn with that, from the tribal place. They are surviving.
I'm thinking of Sahil's wise words. No hard work, only smart work. Yes, no, this is very, very important to make it. Yeah, why to work hard and bend the environment completely
Completely.
so that it would serve you? Like, no, only like
And you
no
can
hard work,
bend,
only smart work.
see,
Yeah, but not to these extremities as we kind of are. I mean, I guess we share that. We grew up in environments
yeah,
where this has been done quite radically, like environments we celebrate it in such an extreme way that we are humans who can craft anything
anything, yeah.
and that but in the end of the day it's doing exactly what,
Even in the farming, in Danium, the practice is that you can put urea that gives more nitrogen to the plants that necessarily grow. But if you plant lab or some beans, it naturally fixes
yeah,
nitrogen.
yeah, yeah.
Why can't you fix more and you chop it? If you add urea, it will affect all the microbes, even that earthworms. It kill everything. The soil become lifeless, and you have to give more. It's like, okay, you want a healthy life, so you take out all your natural thing and you are putting in a ventilator and giving everything, or in a hospital giving you injection. That's how we do the farming right now in an
Yes,
industrial space.
like methods that
Yeah,
sustain
methods,
life in all
tissue.
forms for us and for
Yeah.
the other beings and the ecosystem. Um,
But what do you think? Like how it's holding up? Like what are these things in Portugal and Suriname? I just want to know how these things are perceived and what's happening in those parts of the world.
how these things are
Yeah.
perceived. I think, well, I think there's a different type of people that have different thoughts around it, but I also see a lot of people that are seeing what is happening to our planet, and in my country that also wants to bring this type of knowledge from our ancestry and the ancestry of other countries. That's also why I'm here, to learn, and so that we can apply in our own places. Because if we care for nature, we care to find new ways of living, to work with what we have in the place that we have. And yeah, I think it's a big purpose that we should keep
Yes.
on.
You were asking also about Suriname,
Yeah.
and I mean, of course, I grew up myself in Netherlands, right? And I'm part of that layer of the diasporic community. But more than half of the Surinamese population lives now in Netherlands. There was a former colony, and less than 500,000 people live in Suriname. And itself, the society is constructed out of indigenous people, but they are unfortunately a minority because of the massive genocide that they have been going through, like all the indigenous people of South America. And the majority of the population there are actually Indians and Africans, people of African descent, Chinese, Indonesian people, to just name a few, even Lebanese communities. So we have a history of about 300, but especially I would say the last 150 years, where you see multiple indigenous communities, respectively indigenous to their lands, forcefully placed into this different context, where we have this big tension going on that the colonizer is trying to mold us into something completely different, but that the indigenous tribal wisdoms are still very present. So one of the first big movements, of course, is that indigenous people managed to survive on their own land. That's first of all, in a land that is till today more than 80% rainforest.
Yeah.
But then you also have the African enslaved people who actually also reject the idea completely that they're enslaved, and they flee into the rainforest, and we call them maroons. And the maroon culture is big in Africa, but also in all over South America and the Caribbean. So to make a long story short, is that you have all these different kinds of tribal and indigenous wisdoms that are coming together in a land where they're trying to make sense out of this new land where they find themselves. And there's generally constant there's protests like revolts happening that is rejecting the colonial mindset. That resulted into a society which is extremely rich in a lot of in different kinds of indigenous and tribal knowledges. Even till today, you see that there is an ongoing development. There is a strong value to connect with the healers and the medicine man, the bonuman, or the different priests of different specific spiritual groups that have this knowledge, that hold this knowledge. And it's also a constant ongoing exchange. So we came to develop a lot of new practices and a lot of new rituals, which also honor the indigenous people of Suriname. But at the same time, again, it's a land that has been colonized, where to some extent people have developed a sense of home with this land, a sense of belonging, a sense of we now are connected with these indigenous knowledges. And at the same time, as I mentioned before, more than half of the population has migrated out. So colonization did its damage. It is massive damage. And but what is interesting that even within our diasporic reality in Netherlands, in Europe, is that people are very strongly connected to these kinds of practices.
That's nice.
So even to some extent that we are claiming more space within the land of the colonizer now,
Okay.
to make clear like no, this is not how we do things. We are doing things differently, and we're claiming that space ongoingly. So it's an interesting dynamic. Of course, I'm sharing one perspective. I'm very sure that other people will see things differently. A lot of people feel that a lot of knowledge is being lost. But as a person who is now moving more actively between the Caribbean, between Suriname, and connected very much so with the diaspora community in the Netherlands, I see that there is a very, very strong relationship. But yeah, people like me, I mean, I'm clearly a person of Indian descent. We came 5 generations before. So I am increasingly now also asking these questions, but how did these tribal and indigenous knowledges look like in the lands that my great ancestors came from?
Yeah.
You know, it's more common because our generations have been for 4 or 5 generations, we're already in the Caribbean. So generally when it comes to indigenous tribal knowledges, we are going to Suriname.
Oh.
We have these more accessible in our own family knowledges. It's being transferred from generation to generation. The knowledge that has been 5 generations ago was sitting in India. There is a big disconnect there. So when we come to India nowadays, we are connecting with India through the lens of capitalists, progress, modernity, you could say.
Yeah.
So we come to India to experience the modernity of India. We don't want to generally connect with the tribe, the village, the rural. People go to the cities. That's where our Indian, Caribbean, Indo-Caribbeans often travel to.
Okay.
And that's again, there's a massive disconnect there. That's not the space where you will find these
Exactly.
tribal indigenous wisdoms, which then is an interesting contrast for me, which in a way I'm trying to break, also trying to open up that conversation. For me, it's also ongoing. It doesn't make sense to then romanticize and think that I am from this land or from this knowledge system, but to kind of, again, reestablish connections that
Mm.
have been broken, to reestablish more healthy exchange. And especially the land where we find ourselves in now,
Yeah.
so similar to the
The
Caribbean.
other thing is that, see, without being uh, getting connected, we are really connected. All this
Exactly.
as a species, we are very connected. We
Yeah,
started
Exactly.
our journey from Africa, and we spread in different, different time to different places, lot of things. But if you see, it's in a universal tribal scene, like in generally, there are some practices still. So I was like very fascinated one time. Here, people catch fish in a different way. So there are some leaves and tree barks. They will crush it, and they will in shallow water. If they put it, like they will close it for some time. When they put it, that all fish will come in unconscious and come. They will take the big fish, then open it. All other fish survives. The
Ah,
same thing
yeah,
in different in even in Africa, in some other places, in
yeah.
few places I've seen the same practice. Even the healing I'm talking about.
yeah,
So as a
yeah. The
community,
healing.
when you live in this area of ultra individualism and all, basically even now with our academics or understanding or intellectual, we know that we are social being, right?
Mm.
So if you've seen that any tribal space, healing is a part of the community.
Yeah.
It's not a single individual person's responsibility to heal himself. It's a responsibility of the whole community to heal its
And you need
people.
community to
You
heal.
need community,
If
right?
you're a balanced human being, you need
People.
community, nature,
So
like
if you are
everything. So you're balanced.
exactly, if you're
Yeah.
going for a heartbreak or something, you need some shoulder, you need somebody's, tap, okay? It's
Yeah.
okay. It'll be like, you need people around you.
You need
So it's
some,
there in all these communities if you look around.
Hmm.
yeah.
They thrive together, they live
Yeah,
together.
and if we go back, like in every place, people would have the knowledge from their own plants, the plants that the medicinal plants
Yeah.
that exist in that place
Exactly.
that will support their communities and healing processes. And it's back in history in every place.
Place.
We just been forgetting about it.
Sometimes we have to, modernity doesn't mean always linear. It doesn't go in
Yeah.
a linear thing. Sometimes you have to go back
Yeah.
also. So, so I see this thing in the time of constructions. Now the scientists have said that bamboo is the fix for a lot of things. It's a modern material. It's now perceived as a modern material. Earlier, it used to be a primitive construction method. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
forgotten and people doesn't want it. Now it's like for this climate change and happening, now they are promoting bamboos. It was already in use for a longer time.
Yeah.
Now, in India or in Tamil Nadu, in this part, they are actively promoting, the government is actively promoting the agriculture farming of
Mm-hmm.
industrial farming of bamboo. Once it's a good thing. So it used to be that older time people used that. Now we are going back there. I think for
Mm-hmm.
some solutions, problems, we have already have solutions. Maybe we can improve that solutions. How we can take that solution and work in the modern world or in the current problems, some ancient or some lost knowledge or
Yeah, I
wisdom.
think like
We can
mixing ancient with the new, I think is the way that we
to
should
it
go,
evolve.
while taking care for land and not just using its resources, by not
Yeah.
caring about it. And
Yeah. You were also talking before, right, about this, how you are more actively studying the local plant medicine, which has not been transferred to you in your family,
mm-mm.
but you are kind of connecting with it. How is that? How does that movement look like in Portugal also?
Yeah,
Are there
now
many people?
there are more alternative communities that also go to the more remote places and try to learn with them, and also like Mediterranean herbal traditions. And you do find nowadays online like courses and people who have learned and who they do workshops, plant walking,
Mm-hmm.
to guide and teach you about the medicinal plants. You can use these roots and that, and you can make the balm with the beeswax. We use, of course, a lot of macerations with olive oil because it's Mediterranean. It's
Yeah.
what we have there, while here is the
Coconut.
coconut
Yeah.
oil. So in a way, you see, it's similarities always, but within the land that we live in. But people have completely forgotten about it. Like this knowledge was not passed by my grandparents, even. Maybe my great grandparents
And
had
fast.
it,
Yeah.
great great
Yeah. It's
grandparents. And it was me who gained this interest because I felt the world is unbalanced and we need to go back to its roots. And I researched and I found people and community within the same interests, and then it starts opening up new ways to live. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's very, very beautiful. And I also see that also this movement in the Netherlands happening because clearly in every land there are indigenous, tribal, local wisdoms that have kind of been forgotten or not actually forgotten. I think it's personally, I think it's important to emphasize they've been actively erased. You know,
Actively erased.
like currently, even till today, you
Mm.
see that Europe is doing so hard work to build all kinds of regulations and certificates to make all kinds of import of certain herbs and medicines coming from abroad illegal, you know. But it's they like it's actually an interesting dynamic. I think also to just point out because on the one hand I also see within our community, right, who has these multiple migrations coming from multiple lands, then arriving into the Netherlands, they managed to develop a relationship, strong relationship in Suriname, but they, of course, it's 5 generations,
Mm-hmm.
but they're struggling a lot to develop this relationship with the Netherlands. And I think it is, again, has everything to do with the fact that the moment when they arrived to the Netherlands itself already as a country had erased so much of its own indigenous wisdoms that it was very difficult for anyone to connect with it.
Yeah,
So
and
we
keep
keep
it.
being stuck, we keep being stuck into, okay, we are there, Netherlands, but we want our indigenous wisdom from Suriname.
Yeah.
But why?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I have some beautiful friends. I'm also in community with them, who are like Farah Rahman. She is developing this relationship again, also in Netherlands. But that's a dynamic. Even there, people are telling her sometimes, but who are you to tell us about our indigenous wisdom? Because she is not Dutch enough
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
to say that knowledge, but she's actually that. And why I'm mentioning this story is because yes, local tribal knowledges are very specific to their land,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also a bigger philosophy in life
Mm-hmm.
that you can apply anywhere. You can indeed honor land and its indigenous local tribal wisdoms anywhere you are in the world. You
Which.
don't have to be
Mm-hmm.
part of that culture in order to be respectful to
No.
that land
The other thing is that,
or to
see,
develop a relationship with that land, which is sacred, centers healing, centers all of these things.
it's a perspective. When I'm saying the tribal wisdom, or it's a perspective, or it's a way of life. So you respond to the land,
Yeah,
you respond to your
yeah,
surroundings. So even when it's common ground, when you address a material to for construction or anything in such case, we'll be looking around what is the weather pattern, the climate pattern, what are the materials available nearby. So if we get a lot of plastics, that unused or used plastics, we will use it in our
yeah,
construction,
yeah. Why not?
because that's
Yeah,
the way
It's
you have
there.
to, you have
that's
to
also
respond to the current
reutilize.
scene.
Yeah,
It's
Mm-hmm.
not like we are being that extreme. No, it's a way of seeing life. Okay, you have this much. Why can't you take this much and leave it for other people? Or why can't you save it for, why can't
Mm-hmm.
you regrow it
yeah,
here? Even in
yeah,
cities, it is possible. In cities also,
yeah,
it is possible.
yeah.
Mm.
You can have communities in cities. Everybody can't go to the forest and live there, but it's a way of
No.
life. It's a
and
way
and
of seeing
and you
things.
see in cities also, like in Porto, some people, like, they have joined together to, for example, during COVID, people have joined together to make gardens, to
Yeah,
like
wow.
support ones and another's. By that time, so many things were like blooming, actually beautiful things, reminding us like, okay, no, let's bring our forces together, let's connect with land because even being in a
Yeah,
city.
you can do it.
Yeah,
You can have a
yeah,
small park or
absolutely.
anything. You can plant something. You can
Yeah,
build a public vegetable garden or
small
fruit
space
orchard.
can
Small
grow so
spaces.
much.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can do that. And
Reforest the city. Reforest
Reforest
the
the
city
city.
movement. Yes.
Yeah.
see,
Re-tribalize, re-indigenize the
see,
city.
that's
I
the way.
mean, yeah.
You see, in a city, what happen? Like full of concrete buildings, right?
Mm,
It's all absorb heat, and
yeah.
it will dissipate the heat also. Why can't we cover it with creepers? Lot of creepers. You need this much soil and now little water to grow it. So
Exactly.
it
Mm-hmm.
won't absorb that much heat, and this automatically city will get cool off. And there are a lot of other methods you can do.
And it will look so much more beautiful.
And you don't have to
Feel
you
better.
don't have to work with government, wait for
Yeah,
government to do any
exactly.
action. You
Exactly.
can
Yeah,
5-10 people, your friends or your
yeah,
same
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
people, you can make a community and do that thing.
yeah.
A waste area, you can use that. You don't own it, right? But why? Anybody can use it. At least some birds will come and sit, some butterflies will come.
Yeah.
Small area,
We
Yeah.
just
should
small steps at a time.
we should remember, like, people and ourselves, that sometimes it's about small acts. It's not immediately about achieving a bit bigger thing. Sometimes it's just needed some little people who decide, okay, let's do
Yeah,
this. Let's act
active
upon
on it.
with
Yeah.
what we can, where we
A
can.
small changes, a small step. You know.
So let's do that also together with other people when they come here in the workshops the coming days. I mean, you
Yeah,
are already doing that,
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely will
and we
do.
are gonna continue doing that also together. Very excited about that as well. How we're going to explore together artistically, creatively, and by just feeling also the space, right?
The basic ethos of common ground is same, like observe, then you explore,
Yeah,
experiment.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
exactly.
You will learn something, or you will learn a good better way to do it,
Yeah,
or you learn a way not to do it.
yeah,
But then you
We're
find
always
another, then
learning.
you evolve.
yeah.
So observe, explore, experiment, and evolve. That's
Exactly. We can even use plastic.
plastic.
Why not?
Why not?
Why
It's there.
not?
It's there.
You can
So
upcycle it.
yeah,
You can recycle it. You can
yeah,
upcycle it. You can.
absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like hate plastics. Plastics, plastic didn't do anything to you. Humans
Yeah,
made.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a good one,
Like,
actually.
seriously.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we've been talking also a lot about common ground, right? In many different ways, and rooting it in the relationship with tribal wisdoms, knowledges, forms of exchange. But yeah, common ground has so many layers.
Yeah.
Could you maybe just shortly share what layers, what elements makes common ground?
What you experienced, what you felt, what all layers you have felt.
Ah, okay, interesting. Passing the question back. Okay. No, I mean many things. It's first of all building a relationship with the land. I think that is very important. That takes time in itself. And that can happen for me a lot through more artistic, creative explorations. We've been making masks, instruments. I mean, yeah, I'm saying we, but mostly still just being supported with
Yeah.
our sharing. No, but actually we are
We
collecting.
are, we are.
We are gathering elements together. And also for the mask making and also kind of allowing ourselves to develop right as characters
Mm-hmm.
within this space to not just attach ourselves to the idea of who we were, but also who can we become. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a constant process, how we've been exploring the land with sound, with movement, with dance, with different sceneries in the space, connecting with the earth, but also the water, with the wind, with fire in so many different forms. Um, yeah, I think these were for me personally very important ways to also prepare myself actually to then continue into doing earth building. Really gives me a deeper sense of what kind of elements
Mm-hmm.
this land holds. And again, of course, meeting people, hearing stories, exchanging,
Mm-hmm.
also reflecting together. Like, okay, we are experiencing this, but then what does it mean for me on a personal level, or where I come from? What
Mm-hmm.
kind of knowledges do I bring with me?
Yeah, I feel like we share a lot our thoughts and feelings, ways of life, perceptions, and then I was impressed of I was not expecting to come to such a creative environment. Well, because there's also the part that it involves like there's the fish pond and there's the that we can then fertilize the plants with water. All of these are a bit like permaculture systems. Then the natural building, but then also all this creativity that it's around here is yeah, it really makes it even more special for me because yeah, I like to, I'm a creative person. I
Exactly.
guess we all are
Yeah.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And food exchange. I'm thinking also
Yeah,
Food
about
food.
exchange.
very important.
And we're
Yes.
gonna do more in
More,
here.
yeah.
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 Yeah, but as simple and as complicated things can become, right? I love personally that we also depart more from this simplicity together.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there is this. Oh, we have a yam. Oh, we have a sweet potato. What do you do with it? What do you do with it? What do you? Oh, okay, then but let's try, and then we just do
Yeah.
it. I love that.
Yeah, that's part of like simple living is what you have, you create with what you have, we share what we can.
Simple living, and it's like, peaceful, more happy. I think, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose you
Oh,
guys were happy.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are already joking, right? If uh, if we have to become refugees anywhere at this point, we are just going to stay in.
We try
You
to
know,
get stuck
this is
here.
so common ground is also a refugee camp. No, no, I'm joking. It's not. It's not. But I mean, it's I don't forget that. Yes. What is common ground not?
It's a refuge.
I mean, I think it's also a mindset, right? Again, it's
Yeah.
not a place to become a refuge, for a place for refuge. It's a place where you are in exchange.
Exchange, really,
Yeah.
co-living, no?
Co-living,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
co-living,
co-living.
You need to
co-creating.
bring to it, receive and bring, and it's an exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, I think it's becoming more of a reality. I think people somewhere also deep down feel that they want to seek refuge elsewhere from where they find themselves now in the current reality.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things happening in the world, and I think a lot of things are being shaken up in a bad way, maybe also in a good way. I think
Yeah, with time.
we need to find different, or we need to reconnect with the different ways of living that have always existed,
Yeah.
and that has to be creative.
Experiments.
You can't just expect everything to be delivered to
You
you.
can live the life, and
Yeah.
that's
No
every
Zomato,
life or every child is an experiment. So
Mm-hmm.
no Instamart, no Zomato, no Uber here. It's no. We reject that.
No,
They
no need.
reject. They reject us. Also, they don't want to come here. So it's